Unsyndicated presents Off the Air with Sean Baligian.
Hey, what is going on? So glad you can join us wherever you may be. He's Blake, of course, from 760 WJR, Mitch Album Show and Sports Rap. My name is Sean Baligian, and I am miserable. Blake, this wait for hockey to come back. Game one of the Stanley Cup Final, of course, Saturday. Join us here. We're going to have like a pregame show with barbecue. Well, you can watch us eat barbecue. You can't have any. But we're going to be here to do like legitimately a pregame show. But as Tom Petty once said, Blake, the waiting is the hardest part. You just said something interesting. You feel this is killing momentum that perhaps either sport had? Is that like, honestly, you feel that way?
Yeah, I just think that the gap is for both sports. It's just a little too long. Like, I feel like the Stanley Cup should have started probably last night at the latest. And then, I mean, the NBA, it's always a joke because they pre-schedule out their start date and it never works out in their favor.
Never.
But I mean, think about it. Like, especially in the NHL, like they've had really good viewership throughout these playoffs. It's their best, I think, viewership in the last like 20 years, something like that. I saw the stat. So if you have good viewership, don't you want to keep that momentum? If you take like 5 days off, it's just people are going to kind of move on and do other things, in my opinion, at least.
No, you know what? Unless you are.
Unless you're hockey elite.
Yeah, unless you're all in. I mean, like, honestly, I put it on my dumb little header. I can't wait for hockey to be back. I've kind of wandered around my house aimlessly the last few days. What do I do? What's on? You know, I mean, honestly, it's
Yeah.
I'm so used to having not just a game on, but really, when you think about the first couple rounds, multiple games on each day, that it really is a weird thing. Here's the thing though. I saw a few people complain about like the way they have it scheduled to, in particular the Stanley Cup Final. Blake, you have to give an extra day off when you're talking about travel from Edmonton, Alberta to southern Florida. I have no problem with having that extra quote unquote travel day off during the course of the series. You know, when you're making the transition first from Florida to Edmonton and then from Edmonton back to Florida, I don't have any problem with that. So what? Big deal. Now, I say that now, but I'll probably cry like a little bitch. Honestly, when it's happening, why did they hand me extra day off? I want my final now. You know, I mean, but come on. You know, when you're talking about travel like that, I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah, it's a very difficult time of the year for a sports fan. It's because everything's very inconsistent, and
You
we're
know,
all waiting for football, and there's 2 days in between games. Everything, it's just hard.
I don't listen. I'm going to say this again. Really, you were talking about this before we went on the air. I hope this series goes 7 games. I do. I hope Edmonton, Florida goes 7 games because that means that's less time I have to wait until college football starts. Not that anybody's counting August 24th, okay? Not that I haven't had a countdown and we've talked about it on this very show since then. I mean, it's, again, not that anybody's counting, okay? It's 79 days away. I can't wait, dude. I can't wait. I'm serious. You brought up something. I want to get into this Hurley Gurley, man. Shout out to Donovan stuff in just a minute and the NBA drama. But can we? You and I were very happy yesterday when the schedule came down. I immediately saw it. I forget which guy tweeted it out. The college
Yates.
playoff Was it Field Yates? I think it was Brett McMurray or that I.
Oh, McMurphy, the one.
Yeah,
The Are you talking about the graphic or the schedule with everything?
Just the graphic with when the playoff starts and everything. It was McMurphy, and I retweeted it. So this is one of those things, Blake, where all jokes aside, like look at that schedule. Are you kidding me? How great is that? Like all jokes aside, how great is that schedule, dude?
It's fantastic.
Oh, zoom in so people can see. Because somebody, who were we talking to yesterday where they were crying? Well, why do you have the one game on Friday night? I wanted more spread out. Are you kidding me? I think that's great. So you got that playoff first round. You got Friday, and then you got the 3 on Saturday, and then you got the quarterfinals, and then you are taking it up to, Blake, almost late January for the championship game. Now, are you?
Can I say one thing though that I
You
don't
can say
like?
whatever you want.
Okay, good. The college football national championship should always be on a Saturday. I don't know why they keep pushing this Monday thing. I hate it. College football belongs on Saturdays. That is where that's its rightful place in the world. And clearly with this schedule, they're working with the NFL with scheduling to try and make everything fit. If you're going to do that, then you need to tell the NFL, "Hey, we're willing to, do these things to make it work for you, but we need the national championship on a Saturday."
It was Mike. Mike, sorry. Mike goes, I wasn't crying about it. I just questioned it. I'd rather have a full day with all games and lots of betting and food. No, dude, I get it, but for me, I don't mind the spread out stuff. I don't mind.
And
I
these
don't mind
games
the
are going to
spread out.
take 3.5 hours.
I know.
It's college football.
Oh, it makes me so happy.
Like there might be a half hour between each game if you really think about it. Noon to 4. That's not any different than a normal college football Saturday. It's noon to 3:30. We're talking about a half hour difference. There's not going to be any gaps. And now that there's this stupid 2-minute warning in college football, it's probably just going to be back to back.
Oh,
more commercials. Thanks, Fox.
Mike, I get what you're saying, but Mike, for guys like you and I, that means you get to come over my house 2 days in a row. Or if you want, we can go to your house one day and then we can go to my house the next day.
You guys are so cute.
And Blake can come over if Blake wants to come over, but more often than not, Blake kind of big times us. But yeah, I mean, it would.
You live an hour away. It's not like it's a convenient short drive.
You live in Narnia. Don't say I live an hour away. You live in Narnia. You're an hour from everything.
No, I live closer to the city than you do.
How long does it take you? Seriously.
25 minutes at most.
It takes about 30 for me. So
see,
yeah. Mike goes, okay, now I'm sold. I don't know. It's like that Friday night, just going back to the hockey thing for a second. I'm going to be miserable Friday night. I'm going to be sitting at home on Friday night going, hey, not need me. Where's my hockey? I am. I'm going to be miserable. Dave said he's college football elite. Used to be on Thursday. That was good. Last one on Thursday, Florida and Oklahoma. Chris said, why are they playing the championship so late in January? It's adding, the extra round now. It is.
And they're doing 2 weeks in between playoff matchups, which is, I think, the right call. Because normally in college football, it's like what? The end of the regular season is that last weekend in November, and then the national championship's not until January 8th.
Yeah.
So instead of a month gap, they're giving them 2 weeks. I think it makes sense. But this is the one. This schedule, if it'll show it. There we go.
Take a look at that. Can you guys see that very well? I saw this. Look at that schedule of games.
But that's what I'm saying. They're clearly working with the NFL.
How beautiful
to make this
that?
Scheduling work.
Like, honest to goodness, how beautiful is that? And just Christmas Eve, I've said this before. If you guys have watched me, whether it be TV or radio or obviously here, Christmas Eve is like the holy day in my family. So more often than not, like I'll have like it always seemed like the Hawaii Bowl was on that day. I'll have like the game on, but I'm just too busy running around and cooking for 50 people and things like that. Every day there's something. Look at that schedule.
Yeah.
My
Except
gosh.
for Christmas Eve.
That's it. That's what I'm saying.
That's
That's
crazy.
my holy day, so I don't mind it. But every day there's going to be something. Oh, is that beautiful the way that's stretched out?
It
Oh
really
my
is.
goodness. See, here's the thing though, Blake, and I don't think you're old enough to remember. Guys like Mike and I, if you're of the quote unquote older generation, January 1 used to be, I always used to say pound for pound, it was the best sports day of the year, January 1. And it was because legitimately you had all those quote unquote big bowl games. Although I always felt like the Peach Bowl kind of got disrespected on New Year's Eve. It always seemed like a good matchup and a good game. But pound for pound, you had a game at 11, you had a game at 11:30, you had a game at noon, you had a game at 2 o'clock, you had the Rose Bowl at 4:30, and you might have multiple games on at 8 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pound for pound. Like I grew up in an era where New Year's Day was the best sports day of the year. And I would hear no argument otherwise. Like, don't even disrespect that day because not only that, but then, the NHL started moving their little winter classic thing on during the day and everything. Hey, Zach. So Mike and I grew up in that era where that day was just unbelievable. Okay, well, we'll start with the party sub at 11:30 and then we'll move on to some wings in the afternoon. And then, well, I had this pork roast or whatever the case may be, this brisket on all day. That's going to be the main course at night. So, in that regard, I understand what, people are saying because of that fact. The bang for your buck day is kind of missed out. It really is. It's kind of missed out.
Yeah, but I'll take a 2-week buffet.
I kind of like it every day too. I'm not gonna lie.
It's and like you were saying too. There's hockey going on during all this.
Sure.
There's gonna be college basketball starting up. Everything all at once. Give it to me. Because and especially right now, Sean, in about a week and a half, all we're gonna have is baseball. That's it. That's all we have. And I don't know what I'm gonna do.
It's the dead zone. I I
Mhm.
I I nicknamed it the dead zone many years ago when I was doing the sports radio thing. It is. It's sports dead zone. It's just sports dead zone. There's no other way to say it. And
All
that
I'm looking forward to is this video game coming out. It's all I've been thinking about.
well, that's why listen, that again, Blake, is why losers like you and I say that with affection. That is why losers like you and I sit back and go 79 days until college football starts. Like I know, all right. So there's what today 24 more days and then 31 days and 24 and 31 is 55 and then 24 days 79 days.
I didn't know you were this good at math.
It's amazing what high school math can do for you. It really, I'm not joking. It is amazing. Like you should see like on the spot when I'm at the gas station, the people are always amazed at me because what I do is like I know like okay, I'll take 2 tins of chew and then very quickly I can go, and could you put the rest of 25 on pump 5? But I know what the number is. Could you put $10.15 on? How did you do that? And I'll go, high school math. They're always amazed, but I go, see what high school math does?
Wait, so you know exactly how much your tins cost?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of
But I
course.
mean, what
I kind of
like
buy them a little bit. So kind of.
yeah, I know, but I feel well, it depends on the gas station. I have the same, you know, but some gas stations they're a little bit
Oh,
more,
they
some
jack
they're
you
a
up a
little bit
little bit.
less.
That's why I know there's one, and I'm not telling anybody. There's one near me that has like the lowest price, so I go to that one. So I know exactly what I can put in. Let me tell you about our friends at All About Catering while we have a minute before we get into some of this NBA, WNBA drama. All About Catering LLC is a full service caterer, They do graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for, from 25 to 4,000 people. Rick and his staff at All About Catering will take care of you. They've literally taken care of my family multiple times. I know that they will take care of your family because customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. Do not sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews, or simply give them a call. Tell them that we sent you. 586-731-1398. That's 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Really appreciate the great folks at All About Catering. You will as well. Blake, I've said this many times, and I'm going to say it again here. I don't know when it happened. I don't know how it happened, but at some point in time, the NBA kind of lost me. I'm tired of the drama. I'm tired. If I had to say that there was a D-Day, maybe it was the decision. Maybe it was LeBron in the decision. But I just, enough. Like, I had enough of it. I think that it is a league that not only perpetuates drama, I think they smile upon drama. I think they encourage drama. I'm just not down with that. Maybe I'm too old. I don't know. And people go, well, no, it's not a basketball thing. I think their style is fun for me, but this drama, there's always some kind of drama going on, right? Which leads me to this. Why would Hurley want to leave a place where he is already a legend? He could become like an immortal legend. Why would he want to leave that place where he can walk around town, Stores, Connecticut, write his own check, and go to, of all places, the Los Angeles Lakers and the king of drama, LeBron James? Why would he want to do that? I think I know the answer, but I'm interested to hear what your thought is.
I think there's 3 reasons.
Oh, this will be good.
Money.
Well,
Money is they're going to back up
sure sounds like it.
the Brinks truck of all Brinks trucks. So
Sure
that,
sounds.
which, and this is like a part B to that one. Like, living in Southern California with that weather, it's a little bit nicer
Have you ever been to
than
LA?
Connecticut. No, but you think he's gonna live in LA?
That's a good point. Well, traversing LA though is a nightmare. Even if he lives on one of the beaches, but traversing LA is a nightmare.
Is the weather there nicer than Connectiut?
When you can see it and smell it, but that's a different story. Go on.
Then legacy wise, if you win a championship with the Lakers, like, yeah, don't get me wrong, winning a championship, like, he is UConn basketball, in my opinion. Like, right now, what he has done with that program, everything, he's an incredible coach. But if you win a championship with the Lakers, I mean, that's big time. There's nothing bigger in basketball than that, in my opinion, from just an outsider. And then
go ahead.
The third part is, I don't think LeBron's coming back if Hurley's there. I don't think he'll play for Hurley. LeBron doesn't want to actually get coached.
What if they promise to bring in Bron?
I don't think Hurley would go for that.
So, do you know what I think it is, honestly? And I'm not going to argue with what you said. I don't know. I think it's ego. I think it's strictly ego. 100%. I do. I think it's strictly ego. I think it's strictly he's made a ton of money. He can make a ton of money more, but it's that whole, well, I want to see if I can do it. I want to see if I can go to the highest level. I want to see if I can go into one of the biggest markets, one of the, premier franchises in all of sport, not just the NBA. I mean, you have to give the Lakers their flowers. Honest to goodness, I think it's nothing more than ego. I really do. Because, what's the old saying? How much money is enough money, right? I don't know his career earnings. I bet it's pretty good. I bet you he's really been taken care of in Stores, Connecticut as well. You know what I mean? So, Blake, honestly, and this is opinion. I'm not saying that you're wrong. It's ego, right? Okay, I can do it at the next level. Okay, Doesn't matter who I got at the next level. I can
He
do it at
is.
the next level.
He has said like. So I've seen him do interviews and stuff. He was on Pardon My Take like during March Madness. He said like he does want to coach in the NBA at some point. So it's not like it's been a secret. He also even said like I have to change the way I am.
Right.
Like his psychopathness and his just crazy demeanor. He's like, that doesn't fly in the NBA.
No.
And that didn't go away last year at all. I think that's what makes him a great coach, though. He is the perfect college basketball coach.
I think so too.
We need, like, college basketball needs those coaching personalities, and he fits perfectly.
Yeah. I like what Bill said here. Hurley is at the Izzo-like crossroads. I think that's Blake, honest to God, gosh, I hope people can remember this. When Tom Izzo was having his flirtation with the NBA the final time, I have been as consistent as possible in things like this. Who the hell am I to tell another human being what is best for them? I am never, ever, honest to God, I am never going to get angry at a young man who decides to leave school early. I don't know what you're going through. And these people lose their mind. I can't believe this guy is leaving. You don't know his situation. And the same thing goes for a guy chasing free agency, and the same thing goes for coaches. Of course, did I want Tom Izzo to stay at Michigan State? Of course. I'm a Spartan slap. Of course I wanted him to. But honestly, I would never, ever get upset at a guy. Hey, coach, thanks for everything you did. I get it. You had a gazillion reasons to go. Oh, it's not about the money. You just wanted to see if what you do succeeds at the NBA. Well, all the best to you. I think in sports, we as fans have this really weird sense of entitlement. I've always felt this way. We have this weird sense of entitlement. And I'll use Jim Harbaugh as an example. There were a lot of people that weren't just upset that Coach Harbaugh left. They were mad at Coach Harbaugh for leaving. And I know you weren't one of them. That's why I bring that up. Blake, if it were me, I would be the exact same way as you. Coach, thank you. Thank you. You gave me a memory that will last a lifetime. After so many, whether you guys want to admit it or not, really weird years, okay?
A lot of pain.
A lot of pain. And world turned upside down stuff. In the last couple of years, you gave me something I'll never, ever forget. Thank you. Tip of the cap. Best of luck to you with the Chargers or wherever the hell you go.
Now, I will say, though, I would have felt different if they didn't finish the job.
Of course. No. Okay. All right. What if he just won 3 bigs in a row and made it to the, would you feel
I wouldn't have been like mad angry, but I would have been like, we got a job to finish.
Gosh, damn it. I wish you finished it. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Also, and I don't mean this in any disrespect to you, but Hurley is a completely different level of coach than Izzo.
Oh,
Not even close.
Izzo had the one championship, and obviously all the slew of Final Fours, and Hurley's a guy that won multiple. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was, I think back then, around that time, though, it was, I think if you asked any Spartan fan, how many more championships are the Spartans going to win in the next 15 years? We probably would have said 1. He's going to add at least another one, right? And I'm not disrespecting Coach Izzo's legacy. Obviously, the last few years, whether people want to admit it or not, has taken a step back. And, but how do you disrespect that legacy? That's not a shot at him in any way, shape, or form,
Also, Hurley right now makes $5.35 million a year. So, yeah, he's gonna get
it's ego, dude. It is.
He's gonna get it back. Man.
It's ego. Oh, it's.
He's got a 6-year, $32 million contract.
Tim said I was 50-50 on Jim. I love it if he stayed, but understood why he left. Yeah. Well,
also,
he got it done.
With the Hurley thing, like it came out like 2 days ago that they planned on signing JJ Redick. Like that's what Shams said. So I don't like it's the whole thing seems weird. I'm not 100% convinced it's going to happen. I think
No,
that
nor am I.
the Redick thing they're trying to play probably for contract stuff, but I think it's going to end up being Redick. I really do. So
Listen, I want to get your take on this WNBA stuff.
I would love to.
Can I tell you first about our friends at Legacy? These guys were over my house like last Saturday, and they're taking a look at my stuff right now. Why don't you let them take a look at your stuff? Because thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance. Legacy Partners, they are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full service, one stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place, and of course, saving you money. That's what they do. Do you want to save money? Look, times are tight. Why don't you call these guys? They will help you save money. And chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're paying too much. You could be underinsured. What are you waiting for? Call, get your quote. They are great guys. Give Legacy Partners a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today, 586 209 4106. That's 586 209 4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Hey, you know what's interesting about this, Blake? Have you noticed like some of the bots have jumped into the chat? That's very
Yeah,
cool.
but it's only on Twitch, which is very strange.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. That's
But
awesome.
I just want to give a shout out to our viewers and listeners. Like
What?
this is an odd start time for us, and we have some really good people that are consistently watching us and interacting in the
I
chat, and we
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah,
And
it's
if you're not subscribed on YouTube, please go subscribe on YouTube. Look at this cool little thing I got down
you're
there now.
so
You
solid.
see that?
What is it?
Look at the
Cool.
bottom of the screen.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool how you put that
Yeah.
up.
Look I got another one to show you, okay? Check
All right,
this out.
this will be good. Yes. Oh, yes, that's perfect. Bill said Izzo stayed beeline left. Who played it right? Well, I would say
Who
Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
I would say Tom Izzo. I mean, Beeline wanted to try it. It didn't work. I respect the heck out of John Beeline, by the way, for what it's worth. I really do.
I missed that man.
But yeah, Coach Izzo. I mean, he didn't. It hasn't, materialized into another championship. But yeah, I mean, look. I think there are certain guys that it might not translate to the NBA, much like you said, Blake. It might not translate. Tim said national title made it easy to be understanding. Of course it did. Of course it did. You guys, whether you wanted to admit it or not, you needed a trophy regardless. You needed something because there was a lot of talk without anything to show for it in the trophy case for a long, long time. And then all of a sudden your trophy case got that big, big championship trophy. And then you got another one, and then you got another one. And yeah, you got those other trophies too. So, yeah, it was huge. Dave said, be like a beeline situation. The team won't want to run his way. Yeah, that's what you have to worry
That's
about.
why I don't think it's either like it's going to be Hurley without LeBron or LeBron stays and Hurley's not the coach.
Yeah.
That's what I think because I do not think LeBron wants to play for that guy.
Tim said, hindsight says Izzo made the right choice. Eric said, chiming in from work. Appreciate you guys, as always. Blake, I know this isn't popular to say because you know as well as I do, there are certain broadcasters, there are certain sports, there are certain teams that we're just supposed to fall all over and gush about, and because it's the right thing to do, because I don't know who deems it so. I don't enjoy the WNBA. I don't think I'll ever enjoy the WNBA. It's not for me. And somehow people take that as like I'm crucifying the Lord himself.
Well, you hate women.
Yeah, and I hate women. Yes. I wish them all the best. It's just not for me. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I mean, I think, unfortunately, that's what's kind of happened in our business is sometimes, because other people are gushing over something or because they think it is promoting women, you're supposed to talk about it in glowing terms. I think the WNBA is turning into the NBA junior. Their selling points are all drama. There's always drama. And and
And
and this Caitlin Clark lady is now she's the main character in the soap opera. I just
okay, can I just say though, it's not her fault.
oh, it's
That's the
not.
thing. She
No,
she doesn't play into it at all.
no.
And I'm with you. I missed, you know how like clearly I've missed every movie that's ever come out. And sometimes we just miss one. Like I'm sure there's movies or TV shows that people are like, "Oh, I can't believe to you that you haven't seen this." And you're like, "I just missed it." I don't like whatever. I missed it. Like I was not in on the Caitlin Clark thing early. I'm not going to get in late. I missed it. And I'm fine with that. But like I respect what she's done for the women's game, and she's a great player, and she doesn't play into the drama or anything like that. Like she does her thing, and yeah, she talks a little, but what athlete doesn't? The, you're right. The drama coming from everyone else around her and like everything else around that league, it's insane.
I don't get it. It is legitimately turning into I've said this for years. The NBA to me is a soap opera for sports fans. It is.
It's
These
reality TV.
storylines, it's crazy that who's dissing who. All it's and the WNBA is going down that road, and it is really weird. And as Bill said, WNBA talk. I like to me. Is that what you want?
I mean,
I don't know. Is that the kind of talk you want? You want that talk with racial overtones and petty jealousy and that? Do you want that? Well, controversy sells, and clearly they do because nobody's really shutting it down.
yeah. But also, and I know I said this to you before the show, but I will repeat it for our viewers and listeners. The difference with this, though, is now we have a bunch of people that don't cover sports, that don't talk sports, covering a sport. So they don't understand that some of this stuff happens in sports. There is going to be drama, there's going to be hate, there's going to be rivalries in sports. That is sports. I don't need a 2,000 word think piece from someone at USA Today about how Caitlin Clark and the racial bias in the WNBA. I don't need it.
You're amen. Well said.
Like it's sports. There's like these things are going to happen.
I
Period.
I will never understand why people tend to get upset when you say something along the lines of "I don't like what you like." I'll never, Blake. You know that I love soccer, like I do. I love it.
Mhm.
I am all in the World Cup. Like I don't care where it's at. I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch as many matches as I can. What are you doing watching that? Oh my gosh, how boring. Okay. Like, why would I get upset about that? I don't care. Heck, we know as hockey fans, we've heard that 1,000 times. It is amazing how people get like that. Well, you must not like women. I don't know. I like women's hockey well enough. I think it's a pretty darn good product.
I don't know anyone that like speaks more highly than women's hockey than you.
I
So
love
it's
it.
definitely not the
It's
fact
a
that you
complete
hate women.
no-brainer. I don't like the product, and I don't like that it's become like the drama stuff. It's like maybe I'm just too old and I'm the cranky old man now. I don't have any time for that. I don't. I
That,
just don't. I
that
don't
part
have
of
any
it's
time
true.
for that anymore. It's like, okay, cool. You want to act like an ass? Okay, see, I'm gonna head the other way.
No, I
Brett
mean
said,
the
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Brett said it's Clark's fans and WNBA veterans that are the issue. They aren't gelling. Tim said CC is Steph Curry from about 8 years ago. I think the word is caddy. Can you equate Clark to Paul Crew? Paul Crew. That's funny. That's a good one. Blake, that one went well over your head.
Could you tell by my face?
Yeah, that one went well over your head. What were you going to say, pal?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
The brain is just firing today. It's all over the place.
I cannot envision a scenario where I turn on the WNBA. I cannot, and I know somebody will kill me for it, and I couldn't give two craps.
I remember.
Okay, go ahead.
Before I forget, what you can say about both of these sports, the off season, especially in the NBA fans care more about the off season, the free agency, and all that stuff, and trades, all of that, than the actual games that are played, especially early in the season, like November through March. They would rather have all the drama and stuff, and that tells you everything you need to know about the league.
Yeah, no, I agree. And whether we want to admit it or not, I think for a while, the NHL was going down that road too. I do. Whether we want to admit it, it was July 1 was the national holiday. And whether we want to admit it or not, I think a lot of hockey fans were like that. And it pained me to say that. I love July 1, but both things can be true. I could love July 1 and appreciate the Stanley Cup Final. But so much of it was about the movement. And I think especially here in this market, as whether you want to admit it or not, I think in the back of your heads for Red Wing fans, they kind of knew after 2009 that it was over. I think in the back of their minds, they knew that. They didn't want to admit it. They didn't want to hear any Yahoo talking about it. But that's why July 1 in this town really became something. And if you remember, there were so many. I can tell you a story. I was working in a radio station, and I'm not going to throw somebody under the bus. Oh, boy, could I, though. And I'll leave it at that.
You kind of want to. I saw it on your
I want to very badly. I do. For many reasons, and I hope that there are some people watching that know what I'm talking about because they would know the backstory. I had somebody tell me, and Blake, I'm very proud. I never give up sources. I had somebody tell me in 2012 that there was a flight tracker that had Suter and Parise taking a flight to Detroit, and Suter and or Parise, it was just a matter of time before they were going to sign with Detroit. I made one phone call, and I'm not going to say who. If you think real hard, you can probably figure it out. And it was dismissed immediately. And I told this person, I said, you cannot keep reporting this. You cannot keep like putting out the tweets and social media and all that stuff. Well, I'm going to stand. I go, I guarantee you my source is better than your source. I guarantee you, as sure as I'm sitting here, my sources. So they literally put out this junk all day, like not just in the morning, all day. Well, at the end of the day, when they went and signed someplace else, I didn't even have the guts to say I told you so because I was afraid I'd get mad and swear and be mean. So we ended up getting a lot of heat for it at the station that I was working for. And then the funny thing is the audacity of this person the next day, they asked me if I could help take off some of the heat. And I said, no, I can't. I said, because
I can't believe you didn't just open up your mic and just start laughing.
I asked you 24 hours ago to take that stuff down because I told you that was not true. But I think when you think back to those eras, people wanted the Red Wings to continue the good times so badly that surely every free agent had Detroit either at the top of their list or near the top of their list. And that's kind of the way that it devolved around here for a few years, whether we want to admit it or not.
Well, and looking back on it, the signings would have put the franchise in an even worse spot. I mean, because look at what it did to Minnesota.
You're absolutely right. That's the reality.
Those contracts were horrible.
Oh, yeah, it was never going to happen. But that, again, when hopium comes into the equation, when we're all guilty of it. I mean, Blake, I say it all the time. Okay. I use John L. Smith as a perfect example for Michigan State fans. Y'all knew. You did. You knew. Whether you want to admit it or not, you knew. And I had kind of given it up after the 05 season. In the 06 season, there were still such a bunch of just slappies that were around and saying, oh, see, look at this comeback against Northwestern. And some of the stuff they were saying, I was like, listen to yourself talk. You knew, but you didn't want to know. And I would say the same thing about both Rich Rod and Hoke for you guys. Although Hoke,
I would say even more Jawan. Like Jawan, I knew.
Yeah.
Once he started like throwing fists at other head coaches, I was like, yeah, this probably isn't going to work.
I think the last year of Hoke is when collectively you all had no choice but to acknowledge it. But even Rich Rod, if you remember the Rich Rod revisionist history, there were people that were like, he never got a chance to finish. He got better every year. Do you remember that one? He got better every year. What?
It was never going to work. It was never going to work.
And I would always say, if getting better every year means you finish 7-6 your last year and you lost, I think it was the last 4 games by double digits. If that's getting better every year, then, oh my goodness gracious, you got better every year.
Remember, there's a reason why he's at Jackson State.
Right. What was it? They got hammered by Wisconsin. They got hammered by Ohio State. They got hammered by Mississippi State. I mean, it was and each one was progressively worse, but golly gee, they got better every year. And I think Hoke was the same thing. You know, that first year was kind of a convergence of things that allowed you to have a nice year. There's nothing wrong with a year like that. It was kind of like, the year that Mel Tucker had in 2021. It was a good year. There's no harm with that.
Tuck coming.
Yeah, that was another one. I can
Spartan
tell you,
dog. I really miss him.
I can tell you privately that I had some conversations with some people that we were. I remember even talking to you last year when we were working together and we were having Tuck on the show at the time. You and I were having conversations like that. I was like, best case scenario, maybe a bowl game, maybe. It wasn't happening. And then you find out some stuff. I mean, forget about the salacious stuff, some other stuff that was happening it was never going to happen. It wasn't. No.
He caught lightning in a bottle with K9.
Yep. It's exactly what it is.
He owes K9 a lot of money.
Tim said, like, when Rieger emphatically had JV going to the Dodgers in 2017, next day or the day after he was traded to Houston. Oh, I didn't know anything about that. Rich Rod in the air shoelaces offense. Well, as you know, there was another quarterback who sometimes I go back and I find you can search for those memes. You know that, right? There are a whole bunch of Tate Forcier memes that are still out there.
I told you I met Tate Forcier. He was the dumbest human being I've ever met.
There was the one that always made me laugh is that picture of David touching the finger of God, and somebody superimposed Tate Forcier touching the finger of God.
Yeah. It was a tough time. But also
I love slapdickdom. I do.
Just what Tim was saying, but there's a difference between like what happened there. We don't know if like Jeff may have had a source and the source was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You went to someone and said this is wrong and they ignored it. There's a difference there.
Honest to goodness, I crap you not, I made one phone call.
Yeah.
And I've never given up a source and I never will, but I'll just say this. If you think real hard, I bet you can figure out who the phone call was to.
Yeah.
I bet you can.
And
but he told me, and I quote, ha ha ha, no. That was the exact quote. That was I'm not joking. That was the exact quote. So, sometimes you if you trust your source, you got to roll with it. And, I can't think of a time I ever got burned. Maybe I did. Maybe somebody can remember something. I can't think of a time I ever got burned though, honestly. But, yeah. But we were so desirous, and that's what brought this up. I think Blake, a lot of times, using John L. Smith and the hoaxster and Rich Rod as an example, or the Red Wings being desirous of being back to what they were, sometimes you kind of set aside common sense and you let slapdom take over, right? You just do.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. All right. Can I tell you about our friends at Wealth Advantage Group? The Handsome Brothers. Look at those guys. Aren't they handsome? Seriously. And if you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than those guys. The Handsome Brothers, the Wealth Advantage Group. They're located in historic downtown Northville, owned by those two guys with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. That's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, already in retirement, doesn't matter. They can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients through all stages of life and have clients in over 20 states. The investment world, it is a complex one. So if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it might be time to work with a couple of experts. They've helped my family out. They will help you and your family out. So reach out to these guys at 248-773-8574 or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Mike and Jeff, the whole staff, great people, and they're going to take care of you. So give them a call. I promise you they'll take care of you just like they took care of me. Dave said, I wanted Rich Rod to work so bad at Michigan just from the start downhill. Blake, I was convinced that Rich Rod was going to work at Michigan. I'm not joking. I was terrified. I saw what he did at West Virginia, and I don't want to do the revisionist history thing. Go back and look at some of the big wins they had. Now, I know everybody talks about the big loss that kept them from playing for the championship
That was
that year.
Pat McAfee's fault.
But like seriously, go back and look.
No, those teams were disgusting.
My man won some big games and beat some quote unquote top notch caliber college football. I was terrified of Rich Rod. Terrified.
He never had a Pat White. I mean, Denard was the closest thing, but Pat White could sling the ball compared to Denard.
So sorry for it was Nick Sheridan. Remember Nick Sheridan that first year?
Oh, yeah.
You want to try to talk about trying to put the square peg in the round hole, trying to make that guy fit what Rich Rod wanted to do. That was sad. I felt sorry for the kid.
You know what? Honestly, though, with Rich Rod, if there was a transfer portal, he would have been successful quicker.
I think so. The problem is, and we've talked about this, and we saw this with Lombardi here. There comes a time where you have to check your ego and you have to sit back and say, I know this has worked for me elsewhere, but I have to look at my personnel and I have to look at where we're playing. Okay. His defense was never going to work in the Big Ten. Not the way Big Ten football is played. It was never ever the 3-3-5. Do you remember and I'll never forget. There were people, and many of the people in the chat can vouch for this. There were people that like called me and were going, you don't know anything about football. If you don't think this can work in the Big Ten, you don't know anything about football. And I was
especially that era of the Big Ten.
Right?
Like nowadays, honestly, might work where the Big Ten is. Probably still wouldn't be great, but it would be better than, it would work. It wouldn't be
what Michigan State was doing at the time, and Javon Ringer lit them.
Yeah.
Javon Ringer could have ran for 500 yards that game.
Wisconsin.
The Wisconsin game is the one that I always come back to. Killer and I were watching that game together. And like we were literally laughing watching that game. And I know that wasn't funny to Michigan fans, but I'll never forget. Do you remember Bielema? I don't think they passed in the second half. They had a 3rd and 8, and he called shock the power sweep. And they converted on a 3rd and 8 and kept their long drive going. And Bielema took his play card and was going like this, laughing behind the play card. And I remember I went on the radio and I said, I know you Michigan fans don't like me very much. And I know you think that I take shots at you. But one day you're all going to confess to me that I was fair. And that has happened. I said, if you can't see this isn't going to work, you aren't paying attention. You
Mhm.
are not paying attention. And Blake, I think and much like I brought up Lombardi trying to turn Matthew Stafford into Drew Brees. How about making your system fit what you have at your disposal as opposed to the other way around? How about playing to a player's strengths as opposed to trying to make his weaknesses play to your schemes?
Yeah.
Never made sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me. And that, unfortunately, I think Rich Rod was guilty of not knowing the history of Michigan, that deep system behind the scenes, and having too much arrogance in his system. I think ultimately that, and I bet you if you talk to Rich Rod today, 14 years later, I bet you he would admit both things. In particular, I think his insistence that that defense could work in this conference was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Man, so as I've just been thinking about those West Virginia teams stuff. How awesome they were.
They really were.
Like
That was a fun watch, dude. They really
Pat
were.
White, Steve Slayton,
Leighton, yeah.
Noel Devine, that dude was the fastest running back I've ever seen in
Oh,
my life.
unbelievable.
I
All right.
loved those teams.
They were fun to watch. That's when Blake, you know how you and I were joking about what bad Big East game is on at noon? If West Virginia was on, my pants were around my ankles. Oh,
Yes.
cool. I get to watch this, you know? Let's talk about Lindsey Broadwell before we get out of here. When it is time to get yourself a new house, whether you're buying, selling, both, you need to contact the right agent. The right agent? There she is, Lindsey Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsey grew up on the mean streets of Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. When it's time to move, our friend Lindsey and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyers, sellers, first-time buyers, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsey at BroadwellHomes.com. She will help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. You know what's interesting? Tim said, okay, I'll say it, like Dan Campbell trying to turn Goff into Steve Young. Do you know what you have to give those guys credit for? Both the head coach and the OC putting a quarterback in positions of comfortability. There is nobody worse when he's pressured than Jared Goff. So you know what you do? You protect him. You get a great offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You get weapons around him. You get ample opportunity for him to get rid of the ball. I mean, there's a reason he struggled so mightily at the end with the Rams. And there's a reason why he struggled so mightily in his first year with the Lions. And it is, this guy does not do well when pressured. And we saw it in spots this past year, if we're being honest, right? That Ravens game. The Green Bay game. But listen, all jokes aside, Tim, you're right. They put Jared Goff, who was broken, okay? They put him in positions of comfortability. And look what happened. It's what good coaches do, man. You don't try to make him fit what you're trying to do. No, you build upon his strengths and you maximize his strengths. It's not rocket science, you know? Blake, anything else before we get the heck out of here?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this moron from LLB.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. The worst gambler in the history of mankind.
I love this guy.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
Let me share
Hold
this.
those up. Hold those up. Look at that. Jeez, oh, Pete.
So for those listening, he bet on baseball. He's been lifetime banned now. He bet on baseball $150,000. His total. So he was betting on like minor league games clearly because his total amount bet on MLB is $87,000. His average bet was $378. We're not going to unit shame, so that's fine. Total number of MLB bets.
I've been unit shamed many times in my life.
231. And then he bet on his own team 25 times. He only won 4.3% of his bets.
How is that possible?
He's the worst. He should not be banned.
How is that possible?
He should not be banned. If you're losing that much, that consistently, you shouldn't be banned. It's incredible.
How is that possible? Like 4%. How is that? I'm Blake, I'm not being funny. How is that possible?
Okay, I can tell you how it was possible. Because it's clear he was doing like crazy parlays. So if you're just doing if all you're doing is just firing on crazy parlays to try and win it all back, that's how that happens. But you have like you're an MLB player. You clearly, I don't care what anyone says, you clearly have some insider information. And you're only hitting on 4% of your bets. You got banned to lose so much money.
That's incredible. You know what? Here's the thing. We were talking about this last night. Like, you and Mike are going to do your little gambling show, right? I can't
Stop calling it little. It's going to be huge. It's going to take this. It's going to take this platform to another level. I don't like that you're just saying it's small.
Dude, I'm in.
I've just called it little.
Listen to me. I've been bugging you two and your ilk to do this longer than you have.
I'm sorry. I don't appreciate being called little. It's going to be huge.
No, I can't wait, because you guys were both sitting there going, "Okay, watch, I'm going to go on the worst tear in the history of mankind.
It's going to be
once
horrible.
we start doing this." Listen to me. You've got the best excuse in the world now. You could say at least we're not at 4%, right? There is no possible way you could be 4%.
I'm better than Marcano. That's the goal. Is we're just trying to stay above Marcano.
Hunter said the bookie should petition MLB to get him reinstated.
Seriously.
Tim said, like the old man from the Twilight Zone who didn't know where stop was. Dude, I don't get it. I don't get it.
You got to be so like I am a horrendous gambler. I love it. It's entertainment. I know that. I understand it.
A horrendous gambler.
I'm horrendous, but I enjoy it. It's entertainment. Like I said, if I was hitting at 4%, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah,
it's not fun anymore at that point.
It's over. Bill, the legacy partners can easily beat that 4.3% return rate. Yes. That is impossible, dude. 4%. No, you're absolutely right. It had to be. I'm going to go with this 3-team parlay. I'm going to go with this 4-team parlay. But I'm going to say this:
missing one leg every time.
I'm going to add this to the equation, and I know I told you this last summer. Okay, if you find yourself betting minor league baseball and or preseason National Football League, you might have a gambling problem. Yeah. You might have a gambling problem.
Yeah.
Remember we had that conversation on the radio last year?
Yeah, because you got mad at me for betting preseason unders. Or overs. I have a system. What do you want me to say? If I have a system, I have to bet it.
How successful is your system? Don't tell me 4%. No, seriously, how successful is that? Simple.
No, actually, there's statistics that say, I can't remember because it was last year, but I think like 60% of overs hit in the preseason last year.
Jeez.
So,
jeez.
I don't know. I have not
minus
gambled.
The juice, you're making a profit if you roll that way. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't gambled since March Madness, and I had a really good March. So it's all gonna come crashing. Like, I'm gonna have a horrendous college football season, and I'm gonna be talking about it every week. Yeah, I'm chalked.
Overthinking is the death of you. It is. Sometimes
I'll be actually thinking about my bets because I have to talk about them.
Well, here's the thing. That's why a lot of times, many years ago, when I used to dabble, I had a very wise man tell me when I went through a bad stretch. He said, "You know what you need to do? You need to take a week off." And he said, "You need to literally grab a notepad and write down the bets that you would make." And he said, rationally, logically, not based on, well, I lost that bet, so I have to get a bet in at the 4:00 games, or, oh, I lost that 7:00 game, so I have to get a bet in at the 10:30 games. He goes, sit down with a notepad, like logically write out your bets. And he said it's almost like resetting the mechanism instead of chasing. And it was, Blake, it was the smartest thing I ever did. I went on a tear after that. It was kind of funny. I really did. I went on a tear like that. So, all right. Anything else, buddy?
No.
All right.
I know you have some stuff coming up tonight.
We have the golf show tonight. And then tomorrow, I think we're going to have the day off, I think. And then Saturday, we have a pregame show. We're doing like a legitimate pregame show. Instead of the watch party, Blake, we decided instead of the watch party, we're going to have a pregame watch party where we're literally going to have a pregame show where not only are Mike and Coach Hunter and myself going to talk about what we think about the series, but we'd love to get thoughts from you about what you think about the series.
And did I do a good job of convincing you that you need to do something for every game?
You were smart.
Okay.
Absolutely. You were smart.
So it's every game you're either going to do a pregame or a third period.
Yeah, I don't know if the boys are going to come over every day. Mike and
that's
Hunter
fine. But I will. I think all of our viewers and listeners would love to see your happy, smiling face either during a pre or third period. Why not?
That sounds good to me.
And what else does tomorrow's Mike's last day of school? What the hell else does he have to do?
Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Listen, have yourselves a great afternoon. We'll talk to you tonight. The golf show, Mike Fay, Jordan Young. We may have a couple special guests as well. Blake, always a pleasure with you, my friend. Enjoy your well-deserved day off. Blake has worked like 2,339 straight days. He's actually got a day off today. So enjoy it, pal.
Mitch's show is off, so don't tune in at that time. Have a great night, everyone. Oh, subscribe on YouTube. Bye.
Off the Air with Sean Baligian, featuring Sean Baligian and Blake Majchrzak. Produced by Todd Losey and Blake Majchrzak. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Play It Loud by Jam Studio. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the unsyndicated podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Off the Air with Sean Baligian on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.